The 20th century in American railroading was by far the most diverse period in the history of America's railroads. So many colorful trains, gorgeous streamliners, comfy seats, such a large variety of power across the country. All these trains went to an abundance of locations, but especially major industrial hubs and big cities. One major railroad that connected the Midwest with the Deep South was among one of the most important in America, and it was called the Illinois Central. With the main line connecting Chicago to New Orleans, it played a vital role of rail transport between the North and the South. It also had an incredible paint scheme. Just look at this! Anyways, a couple years after the Great Depression ended, specifically in the year of 1941, the IC launched a new streamlined train called the Land of Corn, or Lando Corn, running between Chicago and Waterloo, Iowa. At first, it used unique diesel motor cars built by ACF. If you want to learn more about them, I have a video on them right here. Streamlined E-units eventually replaced the monorailers by 1947, with steam locomotives still sticking around as substitutes. Completing the 270-mile trip in around 5.5 hours, it hauled lightweight equipment consisting usually of a baggage car, 3 coaches, a cafe, and an observation car. The Lando Corn made major stops between Chicago and Waterloo, like Rockford, Illinois, and Dubuque, Iowa. It was unfortunately cut from service completely by 1967 amid mass drops of ridership and equipment shortages. When Amtrak formed in May of 1971, it took over most intercity and long-distance train services from the struggling railroads desperately wanting to discontinue their passenger operations. Amtrak did not choose to revive the Lando Corn, but they did keep their famous City of New Orleans, Shawnee, and Panama Limited services. Or did they? In 1973, Amtrak received a state transportation bill, which funded the addition of the Illini and Saluki in State House, plus continued operation of the Illinois Zephyr in Carl Sandburg, and 2 Rock Island trains, those of which will be discussed in a later video. Also included was a proposed revival of a train between Chicago and Dubuque, however this was new to Amtrak. So, on February 13th of 1974, Amtrak inaugurated their new Blackhawk service. Why did they decide to go for a Blackhawk name? Well, simply because Illinois was funding the route and they wanted a more Illinois central name, so they chose Blackhawk after one of Iowa's counties, funnily enough. Also, the CB&Q Railroad had a train of the same name that ran between Chicago and Minneapolis, however that was discontinued a few weeks before Amtrak's arrival. The Blackhawk had by far the most diverse set of equipment during its operating years. For the first couple years, it utilized 3 Bud RDCs until retiring them in 1976 with the arrival of new Amfleet equipment. According to Wikipedia, equipment changed to conventional diesels like the F40PH and P30CH and STP40F. The consists ranged between ex-C&W gallery cars that were used in commuter service by this point, dome cars, boat tail observation lounge cars, and even the Santa Fe's famous high-level cars. On top of this, unchecked baggage and cafe/dining services were also offered. Riding this train on the daily must have felt both really weird and really cool. The Blackhawk's route stretched between Chicago, Illinois and Dubuque, Iowa, with only 6 stops total with termini included. Beginning in Chicago's Union Station, it continued west to serve Elmhurst, Rockford, Freeport, Warren, Galena, and East Dubuque before coming in at Dubuque's Amtrak station. The total route length was 182 miles covered in 4 hours and 10 minutes, giving the train an average speed of 43 miles an hour. The train ran daily with 1 trip in each direction, with numbers ranging from 370 to 372 respectively. The train was actually really popular with sports fans as train lengths got especially longer during football and baseball games. On these types of trips, the consist could grow to as many as 7 to 10 cars in length, while still providing dining service and no checked baggage. There's not much else information I could find on the internet past this point unfortunately. Amtrak wanted to reroute some of the routes and eliminate some of the less profitable ones to save money, according to the New York Times. This resulted in a near 10% cut of services nationwide and less frequent trains on the Northeast Corridor. With this, several routes were cut back and discontinued. That same year, the Shenandoah, Beacon Hill, and the Pacific International were all completely discontinued. The North Star was eventually replaced by the present-day Empire Builder between Chicago and Seattle as well. The Blackhawk was also completely cut from service, as it was also one of the less profitable routes, despite all of its pros. The Blackhawk made its last run on September 30th, 1981, leaving most of Iowa without a direct Amtrak service to a big city. All of those 6 places in the state still have Amtrak to this day, and that's still pretty good, and most of which are served by the daily California Zephyr. Although the Blackhawk was discontinued, apparently Amtrak and the city of Rockford want to help bring it back in a way, with the new intercity service along the already busy Blackhawk corridor used by freight trains. They are also working with Metra to implement a portion of this as a commuter line. From what I found, there could potentially be 7 trains per day in each direction between Chicago and Rockford, with each journey taking about 2 hours, using the present-day Milwaukee District West line, with 3 of those continuing 2 more hours west back to Dubuque in each direction. The website I found this on says that the schedule's only in illustration, but honestly it has some pretty good potential. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments. The Blackhawk was a unique and diverse Amtrak train that served an underserved part of the state that barely anybody talks about. Its daily schedule and limited stops allowed for a quick trip across the plains. It's a shame that it wasn't too profitable and was cut to save money, but thankfully, people have fantasized ways to return it to service. Thanks a lot for watching, and I'll see you all in the next video. Have a good day.